The dominance is not out. That's the problem here. We're seeing Bitcoin dominance is actually going to rise heavily here. And I can see that, that although we took in a break here, it's not out. And so we're going to see the dominance is battling the 38.2. So we can see this thing move all the way to the 60% easily, walk in the park with the dominance. So, that would mean Ethereum, because Ethereum makes up a big part of it, Ethereum has to underperform. So that's the unfortunate truth. We can see that we dead cat bounced off of this bottom here, and it looked like it was going to break out, but it came all the way back. This is not good. If we use the Fibonacci sequence, if we don't bounce at least at the 61.8, this thing is going to collapse. Most likely, unfortunately. So if we're not bouncing here, it's could be lights out for the Bitcoin, Ethereum levels here. You can see that holding Bitcoin will probably be the better performer, unfortunately. And I say that unfortunately because, Ethereum really has a lot of advantages over Bitcoin in the sense of like, that its supply is being reduced and it's not being increased. Surprisingly enough, that's not enough power because of the lack of the ETF, I guess, for it to run with Bitcoin. So looking at this, it looks like that that possibility of what I'm talking about earlier today, this is evidence now of that this is a possibility. This chart does not look good. There's no happiness here. Zero. Right? There is zero happiness happening here. Be prepared for an absolute colossal crushing of Ethereum. So with that said, right, you should consider like moving more of your assets out of Ethereum and into Bitcoin, unfortunately. It's still not impossible to do well with Ethereum and other assets. Just it's probably just going to do well in dollars, right? Not priced in Bitcoin. So other assets will rise and outperform Bitcoin, but only a select few. Whilst the majority of the major ones, right? Any of the major ones will probably not do well. So, and if they do well, they'll only do well for a short amount of time. And so you want to capture that short amount of time with the RGI investment strategy. So that's the only thing you can do, right, in order to capture the most amount of Bitcoin that you possibly can. And that's how it's going to play out. Unfortunately, I would love to. You know what? We can do wrapped Bitcoin, but you know what? The problem with wrapped Bitcoin as a holding pattern is that you are subject to the risk of the wrappee. Let's take a look at we're gonna have to take a look at who's wrapping the Bitcoins on Ethereum, because that's one of the things we can do in order to capture the upside of Bitcoin whilst we are in assets, like for example, whilst we're holding assets on exchanges, like decentralized platforms, right? So for example, we're going to be using DEXs mostly. We're going to be focusing on DEXs for my RGI strategy. Reason why is because then it allows for the maximum amount of people to actually participate and be able to perform very well without having to worry about if an exchange is going to cut them off, kick them out, or even collapse. Okay, and jump on along for Bitcoin. I would wait for a pullback here because it's like it already took off a little bit more. You're going to end up. You can see we're outside the Bollinger Bands, and you might want to wait for it to consolidate a little bit more. Now, if you do a short term, if you want to go on a short term, you have to look for some sort of Wing pattern, right? So, for example, right here on the right here was a clear Wing pattern, right? That you could have taken, right? Because it was like a nice W here, and you could have taken that. It's a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, right there, right about there. Yes, let's just say it's right there. Okay. And so it's a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, the W's, but you can make it a 2-to-1 by, cutting your risk in half, right? So the breakout is right about here. Let's see, I need to go like this way out here in order to like prevent it from doing that. There we go. There's a 2-to-1 right there. So this is the kind of thing you could have done. And this is what you do right here if you wanted to go long right now. And you would, only take small bits out of the market, and you could move your stops to break even, but normally they'll come back and take you out. So I would be careful of that. And that's the only way you're going to trade this upward movement. Because if you do it any other way, you're bound to get stopped out. Now, you can see that if there's a long consolidation and you do that, this is W's, and you keep catching the W's, eventually one of them will be the right one to keep you in the game if you keep the stops to break even every single time. But that's only after a long consolidation, right? And where it comes back and stuff like that, you can see this W right here. Probably taking this W, it would have been a weak one, but you could have, let's just say you did. You can see that even moving your stops to break even probably would have taken you out as it came back and just like, oh, see ya, right? So got to be careful with that. Be careful. Be careful. We could have a massive retrace. It will probably occur at the 44 level or even the 45. We can see that the 44, almost 40, 45 looks like a target. Yeah, you could probably see. I'm going to probably set up for a short in this area if we do that. I'm just going to look for it. I'm going to hunt it, see if it's worthwhile. If there's any other evidence that it's worthwhile to take the short in this area, and then decide if I'm going to do it. Okay, hope that answered your question, and we'll see you guys.